Edania, the political factions. The E.L.F, the Edanian Liberty Front, E.L.F, has evolved from the remnants of a defeated rebellion into a disciplined and broad-based opposition movement. Once marginalised, the party now holds over 40% of the seats in the inferior chamber, enough to block constitutional amendments, and has gained real political power in key districts like Cross Hill, where it controls much of the city's governance and is spearheading anti-corruption efforts and community-driven reforms. This transformation is largely credited to Sekuo Makonnen, a former youth activist and the daughter of affluent Kafan migrants, whose post-war organising laid the groundwork for the party's resurgence. Under her leadership, the E.L.F has built deep community ties, cultivated a potent student network, and gained key elite backers. With recent victories in local elections, including in influential Cavendish districts, and a growing presence in the informal media sphere, the E.L.F now stands as the most credible threat to the EPP in decades. Though Makonnen remains committed to peaceful political engagement, the E.L.F's tone has sharpened, signalling a movement prepared for confrontation at the highest levels. The corporations. Big business has held a lot of sway in Blackpool since the beginning of time. As a nation founded by merchants, the very foundations of the country are based in capitalism. The corporatists are a new breed of capitalist, executives, shareholders, and aligned politicians with political clout and an ambitious agenda for Edania. Their influence surged in the decades following the Harrows-era recovery, when Edania's relative stability made it a magnet for global capital. Now headquartered in the Blackpool business district, over 70 mega-corporations dominate the economy. Housed in vast corporate campuses surrounded by sleek residential towers, private transit lines, and luxury enclaves for their white-collar elite. Publicly, the corporatists are framed as engines of progress, creators of jobs, backers of infrastructure, and pillars of economic growth. Privately, many operate with near-complete autonomy. Their private security forces patrol their campuses with military-grade equipment. Political lobbying has turned into outright political influence, with corporate figures occupying key roles in the EPP's legislative and economic planning arms. In recent years, under the patronage of Adrian Attlee, second son of the Prime Minister, the corporatists have grown bolder. Murders, coercion, and corporate espionage have become tools of internal conflict, often ignored or quietly sanctioned by a compliant government. Their growing assertiveness has begun to destabilize the traditional balance within the party, raising fears that the foundations of Edanian governance may be quietly eroding under the weight of unchecked capital. The traditionalists are the inheritors of Edania's founding legacy. Over 1,000 years ago, it was 100 merchant houses that signed the National Charter, securing independence from Andorra and laying the foundations of Edanian sovereignty. Today, their descendants, known as the signatory families, remain some of the wealthiest and most politically connected people in the nation. Over time, these families traded their shipping fleets and counting houses for massive investment funds that came to dominate domestic finance. They used their wealth to anchor the Edanian Progress Party during the collapse, believing that only a return to tradition and discipline could preserve the country and their way of life. Their backing gave the EPP its longevity, and in return, they were granted privileged access to the state's economic core. The traditionalists maintained their power through a mixture of cultural influence, political muscle, old money, and control of key economic levers like the national investment funds and vital infrastructure. But their grip is weakening. The rise of the corporatists has disrupted their quiet dominance, while the E.L.F threatens their legitimacy from below. In the shifting tides of modern Edania, the families that once founded the nation now find themselves defending it, from the very forces they helped unleash, the gangs. For much of Edania's post-war history, the West Bank was governed by no one, A patchwork of rival gangs, militias, and crime syndicates carved up Harrowton, Weston, and the Attlevilles. Territory changed hands frequently. Violence was endemic. Thousands died each month in turf disputes that achieved nothing. Over time, one figure rose above the rest: Milos Đurđević. Beginning in Harrowton, Đurđević systematically eliminated or absorbed his rivals. His ability to bring down his opposition with remarkably little bloodshed was uncanny. Assassinations were frequent and inexplicable. Even the securest targets would be found inexplicably dead after crossing Milos. His negotiation outcomes were similarly uncanny. Opponents capitulated unexpectedly, often after short meetings or without confrontation at all. From Harrowton, he expanded into Weston, where the local syndicates and power brokers were brought to heel. In the Attlevilles, the remaining militias were either dismantled or subsumed. Today, most of the West Bank operates under a single criminal order, unified through a web of loyalty, coercion, and efficient profit sharing. The result has been measurable. Infighting has dropped. Revenues from illicit trade have surged. Homicide rates, once astronomical, have fallen sharply. The EPP has tolerated this consolidation in exchange for stability. But in effect, Milos Đurđević now governs the West Bank. While he has shown no formal political ambitions, the recent deployment of the Home Army into his territory raises new questions. The truce remains intact, for now, but its durability likely depends on Đurđević's continued willingness to allow it.